Well, good morning boys and girls. Today we're talking about tyres, specifically the Michelin Road 5s. So, the Michelin Road 5s. I am guessing the reason why you're here is you are looking into these tyres and you're wanting a little bit more information from someone that's had them for a while now. So let's get going. So I have had the Michelin Road 5s now for 6,215 miles to be exact. The day I got them I set an odometer on the bike one of the trips, and from then on I haven't touched it, just to see how much life I could get out of these tyres, and so far we're on 6,215. So let's talk about how the tyre has been. So I'm going to split this video down into a couple little segments. So we're going to do how they bedded in, the mileage, the performance, the pros and the cons of the tyre. So first off, let's get bedding in out of the way. So when I got these, as it happens with me every time I get a new tyre, of course it rained on the way home, so I had to ride home on brand new tyres again in the wet. Now I'm not going to talk too much about that because I did make the first impressions video and posted it up on the day I got them. So if you are interested in that, open a new tab or go back off this video and click back onto it. I'll leave the video up here for you to go watch. But yeah, if you don't want to watch it in a nutshell in that video, I took the tyres home. I had about 50 miles on them, so the tyre guy said to me, approximately you've got 50 to 100 miles on these tyres before they bedded in confidently. It was about 25 miles to get home, and then when I'd got back I went out on a little ride that day because the weather cleared up. The first time I got them, I got a puncture in the rear on my first 70 miles, which I'll talk about that a little later on. Straight away these tyres, they wasn't like another tyre, they felt bedded in straight away. Compared to the previous B2023 Bridgestones that I had that had come stock on the MT-07, these felt night and day straight away. In the wet, these felt like they had more grip than the Bridgestones did in the dry. Now yes, that may be a placebo thing, but to me, that's how I felt. So yeah, bedding in, like I said, the video's up there if you do want to go watch the first impressions. I'm not going to speak too much about that. So yeah, the profiling on these, as you've seen if you have been looking into them, oh my god, look at the rust on that. So yeah, the compound on these, like you say, if you've been looking into them you'll know. So the middle of the compound is a harder compound for eating up miles and just for longer lasting tyres, and then the edge is, you can actually see it on a warm day. If I've got a photo I'll put it on screen, but the edge is a different compound, so you can actually feel the differences in rubber. So the edge is slick with no tread on it and a softer compound. The middle is harder with the fancy tread pattern they've got. So yeah, life left on these, nearly down to the wear bar, but there definitely is some squaring off going on, but we'll talk a little bit more in depth about that. So the thing that drew me to these tyres is Michelin stated themselves that the Michelin Road 5s at 50% wear had better performance than a set of Pilot Road 4s, brand new and with the braking distances in the wet. So the mileage on mine is a little inaccurate, I'm not going to lie to you guys. So on the NC500 I did a lot of heavy motorway miles to get there and to get back, and with the MT-07 being quite a torquey bike, it has no traction control, so unfortunately when that throttle's turned, all that power is getting hit by that back tyre. I've had a little research into these again before I got them and a little bit before making this video, and it turns out that some people are getting at least 10, 11, 12,000 miles out of a rear tyre of a Road 5. Now I don't know if that's the type of riding they do that helps them do that. My kind of riding does vary because I am a daily commuter, so I just ride them on the road, the cold, the wet, the sun, the dry, all sorts. They get driven on it. Now I do feel cheated a little bit about these tyres, the fact that they're squaring off at this range, but again it is unfortunately my fault coming back on the motorway all the way from Scotland. It's a good 200 miles down the motorway, you know, at 70 mile an hour. On quite a warm day, the tyres are shredding up down the centre. But yeah, the mileage out of them, 6,215, let's say. I have a feeling it could be a lot better. So let's have a little chat about the performance of the tyre, you know, the general day-to-day usage of the Road 5. So yeah, like I mentioned, they've got this dual compound down the middle, which is good for this everyday sort of commuting. They are a sport touring tyre, but you know, if the day gets warmer, that side slick can really help you out. So let's get the poor weather out of the way first. We'll talk about the performance in the wet. So living in the UK, I've had my fair share of experience with wet weather riding, and I've got to say these Road 5s aid massively in that. These instill a lot more confidence for you in the wet than some tyres do in the dry. Now the only downside to riding this every day on these tyres in the wet is I don't notice how well they grip anymore in the wet, because it's just come the norm to me. As for slips and stuff, I've never ever, and I say this hand on heart, I've never ever had a slip around a corner on tarmac with the Road 5s. The only time I have done is obviously when you're going over stuff like potholes, manhole covers, or if you're doing any sort of funky stuff with the clutch, if you know what I mean, because the MT-07 does not have traction control, so it will not catch you. I can confidently say, taking corners, I've never had a slip, but then again, that's riding in moderation and knowing that these tyres do have a slick edge, so if you do lean it right over in the wet, they'll probably slide out on you, because there is no tread there to save your bacon. So dry weather performance, get the good one, the one you're all wanting. How do they perform in the dry? Well, I don't really know how you judge a tyre on how well it performs in the dry. Have I ever crashed? No. Have I had any slips in the dry? No. I have had the tyre right over to the edges, and when I got there, it did feel a little bit bouncy. Now, do I think that's anything to do with the tyre? Not really. I think it's to do with the MT-07 suspension setup, because I haven't got it set up correctly for fast riding. But in the dry, yeah, they warm up just super fast. If you were to set off from a cold start a mile down the road, they'd have some decent heat in them, maybe not even that. And once you get on the curvier roads, if you just take it gently for a bit and then start going and gradually push them, yeah, they warm up pretty well. To get the amount of performance that I did from one set of tyres without switching in that horrible lashing down rain on them perfectly tarmacked roads that were at times very slippy, you know, if you put your foot down it wasn't the safest of roads. But then to go on to having 20-degree heat and having them same roads and having that grip and having that tack, and the entire feeling to the road was fantastic without having to stop and change tyres, which is what it's for. It's a sport touring tyre. So the pros and the cons of the tyre. Now you're probably thinking, but JBL, you seem to love this tyre, how can there be any cons? Well, boys and girls, unfortunately in the world nothing is perfect, and there is some stuff that I don't really like about this. Well, not don't like, but so the cons, let's get out of the way. The first, the price, but I have noticed in the world of motorcycling and in all walks of life, whatever you do pay for, you pay for what you get. And I think for this set, for them fitted, was around £340, I'm going to say. And then I got the puncture on the rear, so they charged me another 180 odd with a bit of a discount, because they felt a tad sorry for me to fit them back up. So yeah, the price is it's up there. And then another con of it, again, it's a double-edged sword, what I always say. The side walls of the tyre, because they are slick, sometimes in the wet, if you do approach a corner a little too fast, and I don't mean you're speeding into it, I just mean, you know, you approach it that little bit faster than you intended to, if you do want the extra lean angle just to take the corner, the confidence goes, because you know that back tyre only has a certain amount of tread, and once you get past it, it's race grade slick, so you don't want to have that in the wet. So it's always there in the back of your mind in the wet how far you are leaning. But I've never had a slip on them, but I just know it's there in my mind, and it's one of them things that I wish I didn't have to think about. So the pros to the tyre are the fact that you don't need to swap out tyres on a big trip. These host all-weather performance, like I've mentioned. Another pro with these is a subjective one, but I do like the look of the tyre. Most motorcycle tyres have the same sort of tread look, but these have their own sort of funky styling. Same with the Pilot Road 4s as well, they look a bit funky. And I know there's another one out there, the Metzler Road Tech 01s, I do believe that's what they're called. They've got a weird tyre, it's sort of like a crosshatch sort of tread. But yeah, it's always nice to have a tyre that looks a little bit different, because it does make the look of the bike different. And then all the other pros, I'm not going to mention it again, is basically everything that I've mentioned. The grip, the dual compound, the mileage, the performance, everything about this tyre to me is fantastic. And that leads me down to the one question: would I buy the tyres again, or would I try something else? And I think you all know the answer to that one is I'm going to get a rear tyre for it when this one goes, because I don't fancy trying out a new tyre that could possibly be better than this when this one's as good as a tyre can get for a daily commuter. So yeah, boys and girls, that's my little review on the Michelin Road 5 tyres. Now I'm probably going to leave it there for videos on the Road 5s. There's not much more you can really do with tyres. If you did enjoy, make sure to leave a like on the video, it does help get the video out there. Ooh, so it's your turn now. Go down in them comments and tell me what tyres you guys are rocking, what type of riding you do, what type of tyre do you rock. Very interested to see what my audience has on their motorcycles. But guys, thank you for watching once again. This has been Jimmy on Motovlogging. If you are riding today, make sure you stay safe in these slippery times, and I'll see you later guys. Peace.